Okay, so yesterday you did a lesson where you classified polygons based on their sides. So we sorted them with the number of parallel sides and their number of perpendicular sides. Today we're going to look at polygons and we're going to talk about their angles. So in the types of triangles video, we talked about scalene, isosceles, and equilateral triangles. An equilateral triangle is a triangle where all three sides and angles are the same. Today we're just talking about the angles. An isosceles triangle is a triangle where two of the sides and two of the angles are the same. A scalene triangle is a triangle where no sides are the same, no angles are the same. So 0 angles are the same. So today we are going to be sorting triangles and then other polygons larger than triangles based on their angle measure. So you can see on the first 5, they've kind of helped us out. These little loops that are drawn on these angles, they show that all 3 angles are the same. So any angle that has this one loop, that means that they're the same. So on triangle 1, all 3 of them are the same, which means all 3 angles are the same. So that would be an equilateral triangle. When we look at triangle 2, we can tell just looking at it that none of those 3 sides are the same. And then they didn't give us the hint of the little loops. So we know triangle 2, 0 angles are the same. But then when we look at triangle 3, we know that this angle up top is different, but these 2 angles down bottom are the same. And they give us this hint with these loops. So 2 of them are the same, so it's an isosceles triangle. So 4, we don't see any, and 5, we see 2. Now starting 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, they're not going to tell us. They're not going to give us those loops, so we've really got to look at it. So when we look at triangle 6, this angle and this angle are definitely different, and this angle is different than both of them, so 0 angles are the same. Triangle 7, this angle and this angle are different, but these 2 angles look the same. So on triangle 7, 2 angles are the same. This one and this one, the 2 bottom ones. On triangle 8, all 3 angles look the same. So it's an equilateral triangle where all 3 angles are the same. Triangle 9, well, we know this is a right angle, and this is not a right angle, so they're not the same. And this is not a right angle, so they're not the same. But then these 2, neither one of those 2 are the same either. So there is 0 angles the same in triangle 9, the same in triangle 10. None of the 3 of them are the same. Now, we've got a different way to classify these quadrilaterals. So we're either going to see that all 4 angles are the same, that 3 angles are the same, that 2 angles are the same, or that opposite angles are the same. So that would be like 2 angles are the same and the opposite 2 angles are the same, but none of the 3 of them, or they're not all 4 the same. And we'll look at an example of that because I know that that's a bit confusing when you look at it. So we can tell that polygon 1 and polygon 9, those are both rectangles. So that's going to be the same for us because rectangles and squares, no matter how you look at it, it's going to be the same. So all 4 of these would be right angles, which means all 4 of them, there are 4 angles that are the same. All 4 of them are the same. Now, when we look at polygon 2, here's where it gets a little, that 2 and 2 comes in. We know that these 2 angles are the same, and we know that these 2 angles are the same. But these aren't the same. You see how this one has 1 loop and that one has 2? That means that there are 2 angles that are the same, and then the other 2 angles are the same. So when we're looking at quadrilaterals, these 2 angles are the same, and the opposite 2 angles are the same, but they're not all 4 the same. That makes that a 2 plus 2 is how you would count that. So then when we look at quadrilateral 3, we know these 2 are the same, but these are not. So this one just has 2 angles that are the same. We'll look at 4. None of those angles look the same, so that one would be 0. If we look at 6, these 2 angles definitely aren't the same, but look, there are 2 right angles up here. There are 2 perfect square corners. So this would have 2 angles the same. If we look at quadrilateral 8, these 2 are the same, and these 2 are the same. So it would be a 2 plus 2. So we have just done a little over half of your lesson together. So make sure you're looking at the angle measures, figuring out which angles, how many angles are the same in the triangles and then in the quadrilaterals.